to go to Yellowstone for absolutely no reason.
Yes. So we never made it.
No, well, there's
Nope.
still plenty of time.
Exactly.
Yeah,
we'll
go
make our way back.
We'll
But
make our
still,
way
that
back.
was our one thing. Like, we loved flying by the seat of our pants and just, waiting to see what happens and finding things.
Well, we had a
But-
similar experience at the Grand Canyon as well.
Yeah.
We drove into
that's right.
to the North Rim, thinking that we were just going to basically make a right-hand turn and drive straight down the canyon.
Yeah.
But that's not how it works. You have to
No.
drive about 8 hours around the top of the canyon to go down to the other end of the canyon. So again, we didn't do any research, just flying by the seat of our
Yeah.
pants, and
We
it
drove
bit
a
us.
few hours in the wrong way.
Well, you got to see somewhere new, didn't you? So it's not.
Oh,
Yes.
It
And
was
we ended up
fun.
seeing lots of animals we wouldn't have seen.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
But sometimes some things surprise us that are great. We were driving on the California coast, and CJ just spotted something out of his corner of his eye, so we pulled off the highway, and there was thousands of elephant seals all beached on the coast right there, right beside you, and there was just millions of them. It was incredible, and they were making all these noises, and it's just fantastic.
Which makes for an incredible road schooling opportunity for the kids.
Yeah, it beats watching it on YouTube, doesn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
Seclo Sounds is based at the Old Rectory, the home of our studio partner Interaction MK. They've been bringing arts to life in Milton Keynes for over 35 years. They use the arts to improve the life chances of disabled people and others in challenging circumstances through shared creative activity. These programs help participants to develop creative, personal and social skills. You can visit them at www.interactionmk.org.uk.
I'm Colin Price, and when I'm not touring the globe with some of the biggest names in rock, you can join me every Friday at 8 p.m. for Roadie Rocks. I'll be raiding the vaults for the very best in classic rock, bringing you stories from the road and joined by some very special guests. So join me, Colin Price, live from the Shed of Rock every Friday at 8 p.m. for Roadie Rocks, only on Seclo Sounds. Guaranteed no Bon Jovi.
I'm speaking to the Traveling Chimps. Of course, if you're just a couple or an individual and you've finished with schooling, then travelling the world isn't that big a deal. But if you've got a kid, how do they get educated? We're now going to find out how the Traveling Chimps are teaching their children while they're travelling the USA.
So we call it road schooling for whatever that's worth.
Right.
So basically, we try to hit any national park that's in our path. All the national parks have a junior ranger program. So the kids get a book, basically, or a workbook, and they have to go through and work through all these problems by touring the facilities or the areas and
attend an event.
attending events. And a few times our kids have actually participated in those events. And then at the end of the day, they bring the book back to the rangers and they swear them in as junior rangers, and they get badges and pins and all this cool stuff. And I always joke with our kids, like, just going to one of those events is probably, or one of these parks is probably more than you would learn in, 6 months at public school in America, So, so we call it road schooling.
And we learn about, like, when I know we're going to be hitting something, we learn about it before we get there. And so each state that we went to, we learned about the state before we got to that state, and then the particular things we were going to do. So if we were going to see, when we went to Dallas, we went to see the JFK assassination. So my son was very interested, and we learned all about JFK. And so we just do that. We just, as we see things, that's what we're going to learn about.
So all four of you are getting an education then, really?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm finding I'm learning more and more every day.
You know what? It's the power of the internet as well. I mean, we were driving through New Mexico, and there was a sign for Billy the Kid country. So my son's like, "Who's Billy the Kid?" Oh my God, you got to wiki that one. So we, Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, we spent
We're reading about
5
it for
hours
hours.
talking about Billy the Kid.
What are the authorities like in America about taking your kids out of school? Over here, it would be a real problem trying to sort it out. Is it quite easy?
It depends on the state.
Yeah, it depends. Each state has its own regulations. It is quite difficult in most of the states to do it.
So technically, we live in Texas. And
Okay.
Texas is very lenient with it. So I think there's 3 or 4 states. I think it's
They're a little more lenient than others.
Florida, South Dakota, and Texas. And I know there's more than that, but off the top of my head, I know that those 3 are fairly lenient. A lot of the other states have, a lot of requirements. You still have to show a lot of proof of curriculum and things like that. And sometimes the kids have to still go in and do tests. And we really wanted to get away from the whole testing system. We really think that that's a flawed and broken way of educating our students.
It's failing our kids.
You just learn to pass tests, don't you? You don't really learn, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. And the system has gone downhill, and they're teaching to test, which is a shame because that's what they're doing. They're just learning to memorize for the test, and then it's done. They don't really get any actual learning out of it.
No, I believe it. I don't have kids of my own, but I believe it's getting quite like that over here. Well, it is if you read the press anyway.
Yeah,
right.
It's all about getting the schools at the top of the table so that the schools look good.
That's all this
that's what is
no
here
child
too.
left behind nonsense.
Yeah. So we wanted to actually educate our kids.
Sounds like they're definitely getting that.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure from your blog you bought a hybrid car. Is that right?
We did. Yeah. One of the things we've tried to do is really kind of be as green as we can at this. And I won't lie too. It actually, it saves us a lot of money with the gas mileage we get too. I mean, that was definitely a big part of it. But even in the blog, we address being sustainable and green, and we wrote a piece about the top tips to travel green. And our website is hosted on a web host that's a green web host called Green Geeks. So I just moved our site over to that. I don't know, a couple days ago.
Okay.
The hybrid's been good on gas, but the kids do complain a lot about it being tiny.
Yeah, it's small. I mean,
they wish they had a little more room because with them and the dog, it gets tight.
Yeah. So
and taking all our belongings with us.
We basically each get a duffel bag, and so I got about 6 changes of clothes.
Can you just strap them to the roof?
The kids or the clothes?
The kids.
They probably like that, actually.
Or you could FedEx them to where you're going, and then they can be there waiting for you.
There would be a lot less complaining then, I think. I wouldn't have to listen to it.
Yeah. Are we there yet?
So how many miles have you put on the car since you started?
Over 11,000.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, 11,000 miles. So that's Pennsylvania to California back to Florida. And we're in Florida currently until
September.
Middle of September.
Hurricane season.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. It's the only reason we came.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I'm forever going to the Caribbean in hurricane season to try and see a hurricane, and I've never seen one.
Yeah. we actually got married in the Caribbean during
hurricane season. Yep.
Yeah.
We just missed
one.
It.
Dismissed it. I know they're really dangerous and stuff, but I'm a travel consultant, so I'd like to know what it's like so I can tell people how well they're going to be looked after.
Yeah.
We've been through some. It's not too bad.
Yeah.
Well, you never know. Maybe one day I'll find one.
I'm sure you will.
Keep up to date with travel news by liking my page, facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show. We're reaching the conclusion of my chat with the Traveling Chimps now. Of course, once you've started something, there's always something you look back on and think, I could have done that better, I could have done something different. I'm just about to ask them what would they have done differently, looking back on what little they've done so far. Is there anything you would have done differently now you've done a few months than what you thought you were going to be doing?
Well, I mean, probably just like what I was talking about with Yellowstone and the Grand Canyon. Maybe just kind of researching some of the things a little bit better. As much as we love to fly by the seat of our pants, because it's really a lot of fun.
The important things we know we want to see, we should actually try to, make sure we can go there.
Make sure we can actually get down the road.
Yeah, and then when we had when we were in California, we got another house sit in between California and Florida. And it fell through while we were on our way, and we were rushing to get to it from California to New Mexico. And when it fell through, we kept rushing. I think we should have slowed down and just relaxed.
Yeah. We ended up going to San Francisco and only spending like one day.
Yeah, one day.
And I wrote about it on the blog. We actually saw an incredible amount of stuff for one day.
We tried to pack it all in.
We kind of saw all of San Francisco in one day, but I think if we could have done it differently, we probably would have slowed down at that point and maybe spent 3 days there.
At that point we knew that the other one was canceled. So
yeah.
So will this journey ever end? Or are you going to be going on forever?
I don't know how to answer that. At the moment, we're really enjoying ourselves. The kids are enjoying themselves. So at the moment, I don't see an end at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I think when people usually ask us that question when we're out and about and they ask what we're doing, I just say until it's not fun anymore.
Yeah, I think that's a
So
good
when
answer.
it's not fun anymore, I'll think of what to do next.
That's
Or
a
when-
good reason to stop.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
People don't do that at their jobs, do they? They sit there and suffer with it.
They do.
Well,
because-
exactly.
Yeah, they're
and you only
sitting in
have one life to
cubicles.
live, and is that the way you want to live the one life you
Yeah.
have every single day?
Yeah, sitting
I
in-
don't.
Sitting in a cubicle under artificial light all day.
Yeah, I want to have fun and teach my kids that life can be fun and interesting, and there's more to life than just sitting at a desk and buying new things. And
I will say, though, that, after kind of participating in all the social media stuff with Traveling Chimps, that there's a lot of people out there doing this. There's really a lot of people
Yeah.
out there doing similar stories,
it was surprising how many more families were out there than I thought there would be.
Yeah, I really feel like, and I don't know if it's like this in the UK, in the United States, it really is starting to feel like there's a little bit of an awakening going on, that people
Yeah. There's
are
a little
really kind of
shift.
sick of the way things are going right now, and they want to kind of change the norms.
There's a little bit of that, not much, a tiny little bit. Over here at the minute, we've got a problem with taking kids out of school during term time.
Mm-hmm.
And some parents have ended up going to prison because they took the kids out of school to go on holiday.
Really?
Ridiculous.
And heavy fines and stuff. Over here, the prices go up during the school holidays a lot. So people can't afford to travel, so they travel when they shouldn't, and then they get in trouble legally. So,
That's crazy.
That's a shame.
That's crazy.
yes, it's not
So
good.
there's not a lot of homeschooling going on in the UK, or
Not much. It's all frowned upon about.
wow.
They have
Really?
to have natural. They have this national curriculum where they have to pass these exams and get these qualifications.
Right.
And but I'm sure an expert from England would better tell you more. But
Yeah.
from what I understand, it just seems really complicated.
Yeah.
A lot of hard work.
Yeah, that's crazy.
We'll have to move to Texas.
Yeah.
That's
Come
right.
to Texas with us.
You've mentioned your blog a few times, so how would we find out more about how you're getting on?
So the Traveling Chimps, travelingchimps.com is our blog. We also have Twitter at Traveling Chimps, Facebook Traveling Chimps. We have a YouTube channel, Traveling Chimps. So,
Do you see the theme?
yeah, we got a theme going on. So
I did notice one.
Yeah, we're kind of representing on all the different social medias, and I try to do a blog. I try to do one every week, but I've can't say I've done a great job of that. But I'm actually working on a blog right now about volunteering, traveling and volunteering. So it's interesting that you brought that up. So that's probably the best way. Travelingchimps.com. On the right-hand side, you can put in your name and your email address, and you can join our newsletter, and we'll keep you informed about any new vlogs or blogs. We're also going to start a podcast next week, we're hoping. So we'll be posting those on the blog as well, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Well, I wish you all the best for the rest of your travelling, and I hope it goes well and you don't end up going somewhere that's closed.
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate
We learned
that.
our lesson with that one.
Yeah. Appreciate you having us on. This was great.
No problem. Well, that's the end of this week's show. No travel news this week. I had too much interesting stuff to pack in. And if you've travelled the world and you're continually travelling the world, do let me know. Facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show. I'd like to hear all about your story. But I do hope you can join me next time on the Travel Show with John Guinn on seclosounds.org, where each week I'm checking it out before you check in.
MK Pulse proudly sponsors Seclo Sounds. MK Pulse is Milton Keynes' local magazine, bringing helpful information on food, health, fashion, money, travel, culture and much more to 84,000 people every month. Plus news, views and what's on from around the city. If it's happening in Milton Keynes, it's in MK Pulse, and it's available online at www.mkpulse.co.uk. MK Pulse and Seclo Sounds, the heart and soul of the city.